Howdy, folks. I'm the very hungry caterpillar, but only if it were red.
I'm Amber.
And here's some nice leaves to munch on, and apples and stuff like that. Or Reddit. Or Reddit. We'll find out in a second. Our first letter is titled Unbelievably. Am I the jerk for choosing my nephews over my significant other's kids? And this one, folks, is ridiculous. So hang on to your seats. I'm a 28-year-old female and I bought a house 2 years ago. It's a very spacious place, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a big old garden that I've been remodeling and making my own. My fiance and I have been dating for 4 years. He's a 32-year-old male and he has 2 kids from a previous marriage, 8-year-old male and a 6-year-old female that are really good kids. On top of that, I have 2 nephews, my sister's kids, that I absolutely adore and love with my full heart, a 5-year-old male and a 3-year-old male. Now, my fiance and I have been talking about moving together for about 1 to 2 years, but with the purchase and several custody fights he has had with his ex, it has been difficult. He and the kids were supposed to be moving in at the end of this year or the beginning of next, but sadly, my sister and her husband passed away 2 months ago, and my nephews were left alone. I knew I'll be asked to take them in, and I was 100% sure that I wanted to because I love them and I wasn't willing to let them go into the system, but I talked to my fiance first. While he wanted me to take the boys in too, he didn't like that they had priority over his kids. That's right, folks. The orphans. Why would the orphans have priority over his kids who have a home? Since I currently have 4 bedrooms, 2 kids would have to share, and I was against it no matter whom they were because I don't like the idea of cramping small kids in a room. He said it was okay that my nephews could share a room and his kids could have the other 2. I said no. He then didn't like that I offered for us to move to the basement so all the kids could have their own rooms, and the idea of my 5-year-old male having my room, because since his boy is oldest, he should have it, and a very few more of these types of incidents. Ultimately, as selfish as it was, I decided it was my house and I'll do what's best for my nephews, and due to his lack of empathy, we were no longer moving in together, and that we could either plan to add 2 or 3 more bedrooms to the house after we marry, or he could go because my nephews needed me more right now. So I moved them in, decorated their bedrooms as they like it, and called it a day. I'm still getting texts from him and his family, we haven't broken up yet, about how I could have made it work because those kids see me as a mother figure, which is true, and that I abandoned them to accommodate my nephews, which is also true, sort of. He called me a jerk, so am I the jerk? I don't know. Alright, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, you offered plenty of reasonable accommodations. You have a way for the kids to have their own rooms if that's important. And he just seems to want to put his kids first all the time. And I see that as a big red flag for going forward. Like, he doesn't really see your nephews as equal to his kids and wouldn't necessarily treat them fairly going forward.
I think that that's probably true for the most part here, and I think the one place that I kind of maybe disagree a tiny bit with what OP is doing is that they say that they can't share bedrooms. I don't think there is anything wrong with kids sharing bedrooms, but certainly, like, if this is OP's preference, then I don't really hold it against them. But I think that sharing a bedroom is a viable solution.
Yeah, well, I 100% agree with that. And I shared a room with my sister growing up, and it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now the one issue is if any of the kids have higher needs,
Yeah, yeah.
or if they're not used to sharing a bedroom, those could
Sure.
both be areas of controversy. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the suggestion.
No, no. I think that there was also the solution that they could all get their own bedrooms and that
Mm-hmm.
OP and their husband would move into the basement, which I actually think was perfectly reasonable,
Mm-hmm.
a reasonable suggestion when OP didn't like the husband's suggestion. So I think that they did work with this and they tried to make it work the way they thought would be reasonable, and he just didn't care for it. But I just wanted to say that I do think a reasonable solution would be for them to share bedrooms. But again, like I don't know all the details of the situation, so I don't know how reasonable or not reasonable that is. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. And book reading 1328 says, Not the jerk, red flags all over here. He actually thinks deprioritizing two very young kids who just lost their parents is the right way to go. My guess is that he will always think that his kids should be number one. Cut him loose. Yeah, I mean, it does really seem like the way this is phrased, he is prioritizing his kids. And he's like, well, why do they have to move in with you right now? Why can't we have my kids move in? And it's just, it seems kind of gross. And Dash Cam Kitty says, and this bedroom situation is just the start, I bet. He'd have to let his own kids do what they want and always be prioritized over the nephews. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk? Because I told my father if he wants to live with me that he needs to get a job and help out around the house. I think that's a pretty reasonable perspective. I'm a 30-year-old female and I worked my butt off in high school to get a scholarship because my parents had made it clear that they were only going to help my brothers. I had to help my mom with all the house stuff, and any money I made had to be contributed to some household expenses. I got a full ride scholarship and I didn't tell my parents. They assumed that I would be attending the local community college and basically being their caregiver going on. I packed my laptop, my clothes, and that's about it. I left for university and I went low contact. I just kept in touch to check on my mom. Neither of my brothers managed to finish university. I got my degree and I went to work, and I went to work for a FANG, which is Facebook, Amazon,
Apple
Apple, blah, 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 blah.
something.
I make good money and I do not live in a city with a high cost of living. My dad and brothers blamed me for their failures because they had to fend for themselves with only my mom to do the housework, laundry, cooking, and grocery shopping. I think that sounds like a failure to plan on their parts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, imagine that. Kids grow up and move out of the house. Shocker. Shocker. And OP had to do all of that stuff while they were going through university too. That's not like they had a family
Mm-hmm.
structure there to fall back on. So it's pretty ridiculous that they're claiming that OP sabotaged them when OP had probably actually less support.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you don't owe them your labor, OP.
Yeah. My mom finally had enough last year and I let her move in with me. She gets to relax in my home and take care of my child. She walks my dog and is teaching my husband how to cook food from our country. She's living the life of Riley. My father and brothers are not doing well. My brothers work for my uncle's plumbing business with my dad. In a few years, they'll be making good money, but they aren't yet. My dad says that he deserves to rest like my mother is. He's my father, and my family is saying that I should help him out. So I talked with my mom and made sure that she was okay, and then I called him and said that he could move into my apartment over the garage, but he would have to contribute to the household and do chores. He called me selfish, disrespectful, and ungrateful. My brothers have joined in. I have even received calls and messages from family in our home country telling me that I am a terrible daughter. No. I gave most of my money to him from 14 to 18. I did all of the chores along with my mother when I lived at home. I think that this is enough gratitude and pay. Am I the jerk? And edit, I forgot I gave my mom money for helping even though she insists that I don't have to. My husband and I have also bought her a car so she can do her own things and run errands and such. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Definitely zero on the jerk meter. And honestly, I still wouldn't let your dad move in. Like, you are way more generous than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think OP is actually being really turning the other cheek and being actually a very good person and being very kind to him for someone who took your paychecks from 14 to 18. cut you out of the college funds and are like, yeah, actually, you're not coming to, you're not going to college. You're going to stay home forever and take care of your brothers.
Yeah, like I'm definitely going to give your dad a 5 on the jerk meter.
Yeah.
Because that is just such a garbage way to be like, oh, child, you don't deserve things. You're just going to be here to care for others.
Yeah. And OP, I think, gets a 0.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Napoleon 1066 says, not the jerk, but I'm not sure letting him move in is a good idea on any level. If he talks to you this way now, it's not going to get any better. And OP replies, my husband is a real estate investor. He has all kinds of lawyers and contracts. At least that's a small comfort there. And Pars Immanuelus Salad says, not the jerk, but why, oh why, do you want to invite your dad back into your home, even over the garage? You know he's going to impose on you, expect you to clean and cook for him and do his laundry. Tell him to hire a housekeeper if he's suffering at home without a woman to do all the work that he apparently feels that he can't. If you want to help him, help pay for the housekeeper, a man, ideally. All right, folks, our last letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my sister-in-law it is selfish to ask me not to adopt because she's infertile? I'm a 28-year-old female and my brother is a 33-year-old male, and he married my sister-in-law, a 32-year-old female, a few years ago. A few months ago, she found out that she was infertile. She's been really upset for the past few months and is constantly crying about it to me. I get that she's upset, but I just want to see my brother, and no matter what conversation we're having, she will find a way to make it about her being infertile. About a month ago, before this, I was looking into adoption. I put it on hold after I found about sister-in-law, but since it's been a while, I think I'm going to keep looking into it. Well, sister-in-law found out about this, and on a visit to my brother's, she confronted me. She told me that it was selfish and cruel to adopt when she is going through this. She said that she knew that I was only adopting because she was unable to. Long story short is that she has a vast criminal record, and that she knew that I was fertile and could have my own kids, so why adopt? I told her that it was none of her business and that it was actually selfish of her to demand that I don't adopt a kid. I said that it didn't matter what she was asking me because I was already in the process of adopting anyways. She screamed that I was being insensitive and cruel and has been blowing up my phone about it. My brother is on my side, but I'm starting to think that I was in the wrong. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. You are allowed to make the reproductive decisions that are best for you.
I think that that's really what this one boils down to. I don't think that there's like any additional explanation needed. I just thought this one was so ridiculous that someone would demand you not adopt because you're fertile. Like, just because you don't have fertility issues doesn't mean that you want to go through the whole childbearing process.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of children out there who need homes. And I think that it's a noble thing to adopt children. I think that it's a really good thing. And I think it's excellent. And I am appreciative that OP is going to go ahead and do this. And I think it's terrible that the sister is saying that this is a selfish thing, because it's not a selfish act. This is the opposite of selfish. So, no, OP, I don't think you're a jerk at all. 0, but your sister needs therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Risen87 says, not the jerk, your sister-in-law is making unreasonable demands. And Hallready270 says, this post is obviously so fake. Why? Let me know what you folks think. Is this post fake? We got the fake post notification here from Hallready270. They are apparently the arbiter of all that is correct and right in the world. So let me know if you agree with them. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea here, and I managed to guess it right again, so I'm doubting Google even more. Amber's got some tea as well, but she also has jokes. Oh, I get to read the joke. This one?
Mm-hmm.
What animal talks the most? Well, I would say a parrot talks the most because you can teach them how to speak. Or a raven. Ravens also speak. Yeah, that's got to be the punchline because it's not really a joke as much as an obvious statement of fact.
Well, if we were going with obvious statements of fact, it would be a human because humans
Humans
are
are
animals.
not animals. We are sophisticated beings of light and power. A yakety yak. That would make sense. A yakety. I stand corrected. A yakety yak definitely is the most speaking of animals. Well played, book. Well played. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like. And if you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. As you can see, I still have a broken outro screen. I will have to fix that at some point in time. Hopefully soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Oh, I should get up my beep thing. I need my beeper, Amber. Beep, beep. So we can say when we start and stop video stuff.
Or just censor you.
Oh! Oops. Now it's like full screen. I don't know how to unfull screen it. We're trapped. Please go away. Oh, I just had to hit the escape key. Please don't interrupt my stream. I full screened it again. This time it was a little less traumatizing because I knew how to get out of it.